All right. Well, welcome to the meeting. As always, we're being recorded, so everything you say can and will be held against you and recorded too. Quick agenda. We'll move forward real quick here. Normal agenda today. We've got a program speaker. Super excited for that today. You all would join us on the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all.
All right, so the things we think, say, and do first.
Will it be the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Will it be fun?
And will it be fun?
George, we're muting you. All right, George has been muted. Sorry, George. All right, y'all can be seated. Grab a seat. Now we've got a few more. Thanks, Leslie. Yeah,
That's always right.
Thank you, Leslie, for having us at this awesome space. It's a perfect place for us to meet. So very appreciative of it. Today for Rotary Minute, we got Jason. So Jason, if you want to take the table.
I feel like I'm in the penalty box.
2 minutes misconduct.
I got 1 minute. It's a Rotary minute. It's not 2. Okay, there was a report done by Rotary about smart strategies for improving teaching in low and middle income nations. And it was interesting to find out what they discovered. There were 7 points. The first one was they provide structured lesson plans with linked materials and ongoing teacher mentoring and training. The second one was in these low-income countries, they're doing targeted instruction towards the learning level and not the grade. They found that group children for all or part of the day based on their learning levels will help teacher assistants and volunteers. So not like here where we teach on grade, they're teaching to learning levels. Reducing commute times to school had a huge impact. They found that kids that had bicycles and were able to get to school 15 minutes quicker than the walk, because in a lot of those countries they have to walk to school, greatly increased their learning abilities. Giving merit-based scholarship to disadvantaged children, obviously that helps everywhere. Provide software that adapts to a child's learning level. They had problems with that because they don't have reliable electricity in a lot of these countries, internet connections, and a lot of the teachers aren't trained on this particular software. So, and then support for preliminary education, kids 3 to 5. It's very important, obviously, that they get started early, whereas here we have preschool, and a lot of those developing countries, they don't have preschool. So. Let's see. Just a couple of facts is that more than 50% of children in low and middle income countries don't learn to read with comprehension by age 10. Post-COVID, that number they said could rise to more than 63%. So that's not good. In rural India in 2016, only half of the grade 5 students could fluently read or text at a grade 2 level. So kind of an area where Rotary focuses, and we need to continue that effort.
So thank you, Jason.
That was my minute.
That was a great minute. Thank you, Jason. Can we see some guest introductions here? It'd be really awesome. I see a couple, one person who's still technically a guest. So we got 2. Let me introduce Mike Brady, for those who don't know Mike. Mike's our assistant governor up here in the area. He thought he'd join us because he heard that we had a couple empty seats the last couple of weeks. So, I appreciate having you here. So thanks for joining us. Suzanne, if you want to, I know you got to stand up though. Cool. Awesome. Suzanne Ginger back. Awesome. Is this your 6th meeting here? Roughly? 4th? All right, 4th. Awesome. Wonderful. Well, we'll get on to some club announcements. Great to have everyone here. Real quick, just want to give a reminder to folks as we've started talking about getting back involved with Rotaract and participating more. Just want to remind everyone that if you're planning on doing that, the district youth protection training is on the website. I've got the link for it again. I can send it to you if you want a quick access to it. But when we're working with youth, whether it be through RILA or Young RILA or Rotaract, Interact, or other youth interactions, we have to go through the training process. It's actually not as bad as some places. I remember in San Francisco, we had to go through this crazy like background check fingerprinting process and like go to a center to do all that. There's a lot of extra work. Here, it feels pretty well organized in this district, a bit easier. So, but definitely got to get that done if you want to work with youth. So that's going to be under 21 in Rotary. So, but yeah, let me know if you're planning on any of that through Rotary, and then we'll get you set up for it. Okay. All right. I did have a note that I wanted to let people know. Wanted to have a moment of reflection, but Hal Scott passed away yesterday, and so it's Katie Goff's husband, for those who know Katie. So if you know her well or personally, definitely reach out. And if anyone has an idea on something we can do for her, reach out to me and we'll talk about it. Please. Yeah, that'd be great.
Budget, why not spend it on something like that? Katie isn't better, but just something.
Awesome. Yeah, so yeah, we'll do flowers, and next week we'll get a card together for everyone. So this came pretty quickly last night. Found out about it. So yeah, we'll work on that for next week and make sure that we have it all together. Thank you. With that, just a reminder about Rotaract. So the Rotaract meeting will be next Wednesday. This Wednesday they have a break between meetings. And if you're interested in going again, got to go through that youth protection training. I know that a number of us already have it done, but just something to note. An interesting thing that came up, something that we don't really talk about often, but I saw an email about the youth exchange officer training. So if you're interested in doing youth exchange work within the district, there's a Zoom meeting on Wednesday the 20th. Things in your life may have changed, maybe it's something of interest for y'all, so definitely take a look at it. But yeah, the youth exchange program is something that I think is kind of gone quiet during COVID. We haven't seen a lot of it, so I think that they're hoping to get it back in full force this upcoming year. Yes.
Is the youth exchange the high school thing?
Yes.
And what makes one, I mean,
Well, you would have to want to find out. I'm not gonna lie. I actually, when I was in high school, I carpooled an hour to school every day because I got kicked out of my first high school. I was a troublemaker. And the kid that I had to carpool with, he lived even further than me, but the high school he got into for youth exchange to go to school was the same one I went to, but he lived even further. And so we had to carpool every day together, and he was from Germany. And it was a great experience for him. The family, they were Rotarians in Washington State, and he had like a really good experience learning about the US. So if it's something, I think that it just depends. If you have time and you want to be able to provide that experience for someone, that's super helpful. They didn't have children his age group. They had young children. So it was very different. Their students were like middle school, elementary school, but he was 19 years old and had just finished his track in Germany and was going for like an extra gap year as like a super senior.
that's what my son did.
Really? Okay.
I was curious to know that.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. And Rotary is one of the largest of these exchange programs for high school in the US and the world. So it's a great program.
I've been a youth exchange officer. It was the most, one of the best things I did with Rotary.
Really?
Yeah, I'll never forget it.
We're gonna have to have another Rotary minute from you with that one.
I
Hear about.
could give you one on that.
All right, we'll definitely schedule
You
you.
can do an hour.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll do a program. How about we look at a program?
It's been a long time ago. The rules changed.
Oh.
You know, so.
I don't want to know anymore, John, that's enough. So with that said, we move on to Happy Bucks. I think everyone here has been indoctrinated to the Happy Bucks, so shouldn't be, I don't need to do the disclaimer and explanation, but if you are happy about something or want to share for the good of the order, I've got the cup here to slide around. I see Bob's getting us started over here, so.
I'm just happy to be anywhere.
I got a little plumbing job coming up tomorrow. So get my knee scoped.
So I had mentioned, that there's a young woman named Isabel, her parents founded Busy, the beverage company. And she was the first Down syndrome child to graduate from college. She was at CSU. Amy Long, she's hired her. And I just think that's so awesome. We're all connected. And this young woman is wonderful. She's absolutely wonderful. She was in the 4-way test. We did that with her.
Commercial, if I may go, I found that I have 2 pounds of fresh frozen Alaska salmon that the person has not purchased from me for our church mission project. It's an opportunity, it's $20. See me if you would like it.
Okay.
You sold it right here. I should have sold it. Last first. Okay, first. Sold. You want to?
No.
I'm just happy.
For 2 pounds?
Anybody at the
Same
table?
Got 4 pounds?
No, I could sell more.
I got a happy five. Our Rocket Club hosted Oktoberfest this past weekend. We had over 200 flights, over 10 flights over 20,000 feet. Just really well attended.
Awesome.
Good time on the prairie.
I'm just happy to see Mike. I'm happy to see Suzanne. I'm happy to see Ellen. And so just a good day.
I don't have a buck, but I have a happy comment about Youth Exchange. I got a 20.
I was gonna say, you gotta leave it at 2 cents. I think that's the
Okay,
minimum.
this is a 20 for Youth Exchange. I got a Christmas card about 5 or 10 years ago from a Japanese student that we had hosted. I've been a member of several Rotary clubs. Anyway, she gave me an update on what she was doing. And while she was a Youth Exchange student, I wasn't involved directly with her, but she wanted to have sushi with me. I never had sushi. So I went out with sushi, and she had a motive. She wanted to know about American sarcasm. I don't know why the hell she picked me out. Well, we talked about what's bad, can be good, different things like this. Anyway, the Christmas card said, "Thank you for teaching me about American sarcasm." She has a job with the equivalent of the Japanese State Department. And she, it's a high-level job, and she works with Americans, at a high level. And she said that training on the side over sushi was very helpful. That's one of my numbers.
Right now to the Rotary.
I'm just contributing to Happy Bucks because it's a beautiful morning in Boulder and I'm alive.
Just happy to be here.
Happy.
To her, if you don't mind, actually the Rotary student that I was mentioning is the study exchange. My son he and his wife are going to have a baby in spring. And the second thing is, so there is success for Rotary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Second thing is there's Alzheimer's walk. Walk on Saturday to help support the team. I'll be walking with those guys.
That's right, Mary Beth, run with it. All right, well, thank you all so very much.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Go
go in and
Did
go.
you talk about Heather and Izzy?
You did. Oh, okay. So Amy Long, I told her about that training, that was, and so everybody connected. And there's somebody that's gonna have a front reception job that has that.
That's so awesome.
We need
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
that. That's great.
Very
Yeah,
exciting.
great.
All right, well, thank you all for your happy bucks. We appreciate it. We're on to our program now, but we're just getting all connected. And move it over again.
Did I say something?
Yeah, you get to do the introduction.
Okay. So I'd like to introduce, I hope I don't bungle your name, Adriana Palacios. No, Adriana Paola Palacios. Yeah. So yes. Oh, okay. Thank you.
She just needs to connect to the
Actually,
Wi-Fi.
this is up on our Boulder Flatirons Rotary Facebook.
It is
So now, because Jay's doing this now, and now we can archive this
Without any
spaces for other Rotaries to know about too. So Amy Long and I went to a Latina Chamber of Commerce meeting last year during COVID. And we met Adriana at the Zoom. And it was a business meeting. And, Amy's on the Chamber of Commerce, the Boulder one, and they're kind of connected, the Latino and the Boulder Chamber of Commerce. So I recognized her name when people were introducing themselves. And I said, that name sounds familiar. And she is one of the instructors at Bridging Digital Divides. So this is the first time I've met her. I just met her outside. She came on her bike. Amazing, amazing. We'll tell you about her leadership and women's empowerment program that she's doing with the Mama Leones at San Lazaro Mobile Home. But I just wanted you to see something. She's also involved with the Indigenous Peoples' Day party, I was going to say, which is this weekend. And one of the things is her program, which is being Zoomed from Mexico. Is that correct? Yes. Yes. So she sent a package so that you could do it online. And I'll leave this, but I just got it last night. But I opened it up, and it's got all the essentials for making something with a loom and Mexican chocolate. So you can take it out and show it to them. But I just thought it was amazing that during COVID, that they figured out how to train people and do things online, which is fabulous. So Adriana, welcome, and I'm going to leave this here. And if you do have time, just show them because it was so cute. I love it, and I'm doing it from the mountains.
Oh, great.
Okay.
I don't have a slide presentation.
Oh, it's showing up the second screen.
Thank you.
Say, Adriana, if you come, or you can unmask so we can all hear you better.
Oh, okay. It is okay. Yeah. I forgot my mask. Thank you.
And here, if you, they know about it. I already sent it up on our Facebook.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have this presentation. I will try to be brief because there's like a few slides. Well, my name is Adriana Paola Palacios Luna, and I'm safe. I'm founder of Cultura, and I wish I'd like to start with recognizing and acknowledging that we are living, working, and learning in the lands of the Lakota, Cheyenne, Arapaho, Ute, Navajo, and other native peoples that we, even if we don't name, we know that they have called this land their home. So it's always good to recognize them, their wisdom, their history, and we try to not repeat what we have done before. Thank you. About Luna Cultura, My project is a space where we try to be like a safe and brave space to build skills, cultural identity, healing from historical trauma. I have been working for more than 30 years now on preventing and working in the healing process of gender violence, especially against women and especially indigenous women. And this is a collective space where everybody can learn and express themselves through art, science, and technology, but always connected with social and environmental justice. Next one, please. Some of our current projects right now, sorry, the pictures are not showing very well, is we have an art education program, which is 10 sessions with 5 different organizations in the city of Boulder. This has been funded by the Arts Commission for this year. And then I have the craft program, which is a community reinforcement and family training. This program is to prevent and to build capacity to the families that are struggling with someone in addictions. So we work with the families, how they can take care of themselves in order to work with their own family member that is going through addiction and changing attitude. So the other person will change path, also attitude, and will find and search for help and a recovery program. The Somos exhibit, which is not showing here, I'm sorry. It was exhibited at the Museo de las Américas in Denver, which is, it was focusing on awareness about gender violence against women also. We have the Historic Achievement Project, which is a needle felting and sewing with an artist from California, the Flo Fiber, and it will be in the Boulder Public Library starting November 27th. And will run until February. It will be a space interactive exhibit where on the Saturday, you will be able to join like a workshop. We will be telling our stories and making like a traditional poncho, and we will be teaching that class at the library. We have the Totonacapan Inagua Fusion, which is the Indigenous Peoples Day. So we will be working, we will have dance, poetry, theater, traditional medicine, and herbalism, and show that we will be doing like a little tapestry room. So we have all the supplies, like some of the yarns and like that, and all the tools to make a Mexican hot chocolate also. Everybody can enjoy that. The next one, please. The upcoming classes that I host at the Boulder Public Library in the Maker Space, it's at the building 61. I did last week the Escucha de Bienestar or Wellness Kit, where we make like a body lotion, a lip balm, and everything, but we focus on collective care. And then it's coming the Day of the Dead for October 25th. Then we will have the traditional thing to making, and we will have a sagas and piñata workshop.
Is that tincture of Indian and native Mexican medicines?
Yes.
And so this is something they used before modern medicine came into tradition. And
Yes.
this teaches you how to make them, name your herbs.
Yeah, we use like we always use like a very safe environment where it's like easy to make like traditional tincture. Let's say like echinacea and elderberry and like my grandma used to take care of me before moving to any other kind of medicine. Yeah. So
What time and what days are the classes?
For the Day of the Dead, it is usually on Monday. That's the day that the building 61, the Maker Space, has available for teaching. And it's on the 25th, October 25th. The tincture maker is going to be on November 15th. And the piñata posada making, it will be on December 6th. You are all welcome. And the classes are free, and we provide all the materials. I always try to make sure that the classes can be free and available for everybody. Like the art project, Even if I do host some classes at the Boulder Public Library or at the Boulder Museum, the art classes project, the art education project, it is focusing on going with the community. So I go directly with the communities because I can find out, even if we just advertise that the class is going to be English or Spanish, this is still mostly English speakers who attend. So because even if the library has this amazing sign that says we are welcome everybody and things like that, we know that sometimes some people doesn't feel that much comfortable because it's not the daily spaces and things like that. So I try to bring all the activities also to their own communities. So that's why. Oh, this is my new project. Like, you know, the pandemic gave us like some time at home. So this is a feminist loteria. Loteria is like a bingo game, but it's a Mexican bingo kind of. But instead of numbers, you have like usually is like some drawings. But it has been historical, like very machista, like the brave and it's a man, and the lady and it has like a so I'm trying to make a feminist loteria, so to like we're like, but yeah, to have it fun and to share history.
Yeah.
Thank you. And well, what brings me today here is about talking about my proposal, which is a leadership program with life project and equity organizing for the collective care. And I always mention the collective care instead of self-care because the self-care, which I really value, is still kind of like my own responsibility. And if I'm not taking care of myself, it is my fault, right? But if you don't have the condition to take care of yourself, you need like a full structure around you that will support you to have time to have resources to actually take care of yourself. So I always speak about collective care because we have to take care of each other so everybody can take care of themselves as well. So we are doing like this. Well, the proposal is to host like 10 sessions with the Mama Leonas. The Mama Leonas are a community organization in the San Lázaro mobile home parks, and they work very close with Eco Arts Connection. I have worked with them with some art classes and and science classes and sewing classes. But they were very interested in getting organized, like a stronger process in their organization to actually build like a cooperative, and because all of them have a lot of skills that they can make like maybe embroidering products, but also cooking, but also like different kind of things. So they were talking about, but they don't know how to run a business by themselves, and they thought that having a cooperative would be a good idea. But even if we talk a little bit about that, they felt that they weren't or like a strong organization yet to move on to a more deep commitment that would mean run a business and that kind of things. So that's why we are proposing this program. So you have like 10 sessions where they will develop skills like leadership skills, organizing, participatory planning, and how they can set goals, how can they define actions to actually meet their goals. So that's where we are talking. And this is also like trying to bring this workshop in Spanish language so they feel connected with our own culture, with our own reality, with our own frameworks. And well, we were doing a middle thing, and we're talking about 10 classes with at least 10 up to 15 participants. And we have two approaches from the methodology, which is the participatory planning and the recall, relocate, and project methodology. I will talk about that in a little bit. And this is focusing on explaining the organization process, empower the community, the women that participate, and bringing like a more conscious and mindfulness into the design of their own projects life, but also with the organization, with their families, and with the community. And when I say the participatory planning, it is an approach from Latin America, which it was found from Jesus Andres Vela, which is a Jesuit in Colombia. And it is designed in a process where everybody has their own voice and participates. So it has like 3 steps. So it is the perceptive state, analytic, and planning. So the perception is like, how do we perceive our own reality, and how do we are connected with our history, with our process, with the way that we have been doing things. But then we have the analytical stage, which is like, how do we reflect about our own reality? Because we know what we're living, but if you do not reflect about that, it's very hard to change it, right? So if you have this information, like from the science, like the humanities, the ethics, the psychology, sociology, all that kind, to bring tools in a very common language, but to reflect our own reality. And then you're able to make a more conscious and mindful planning process. So you will have projects, and that's what the Mamayonas will be building, like their own projects for their families and their community and their own organization. And the recall relocating project process, it is a methodology that has been developed for many psychologists, mostly in France and Haiti. And it is a way to, like, how do you remember your own history as well? So it is very connected. Like, how do you remember? And even if it has like a trauma or pain in your history, how can you relocate toward that history? Because we don't have to be like a burden, right? Like if we have like a bad experience in any time of our life, like it doesn't have to be always like a burden, but also like, how do you relocate related to that situation? So you are able to actually project to a better future instead of having like, oh, I have been suffering, which sometimes like it can be like really like, how do we process pain and trauma? But this is working toward healing and being able to relocate to that history, to that process, and to project for a better future for you. And all my pictures.
You're right here. Go stand on the other side. You'll be fine.
Sorry, I'm not happy with some pictures. And the facilitators will be myself, and then this proposed to be, and then Jean-Francois, he is one of the creators of the recall, relocate, and project methodology. He is from Haiti, and he's not in Boulder, he's in Philadelphia, but he will come to join us if we get granted to have these sessions. Well, the problem that we're trying to solve is like how we like bringing more resources, like because we find like there's some limited leadership programs available in Spanish, limited access to information about cooperatives, like we have seen like of course there's a lot of information from the business perspective, but not from the whole process of getting organized as a community, as a collective. And I think making it like a cultural pertinent, since I do have some, like I have been working with cooperatives in Mexico for many years. I can bring that like from a cultural. And well, like we find like limited resources for women empowerment, especially in Spanish, and like how time and work schedules can be a barrier for women to participate. So we want to bring this work with these classes directly with them to the Mamayonas and in their own times and schedule, and that will help to solve mobility and social mobility and bringing resources. Our goals is like building social capacity and identify issues of collective interest, build the skills to support engagement, and inspire new leaders and strengthen the existing leadership that is among the community. Well, some from the expected results, because we do want to have like a very holistic approach. It is not only like how do we take care of ourselves, our community, our collective, but also connected with the whole. So we are bringing up the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, like how do they in their daily lives can bring some of this approach, this information. And also we are, by bringing these tools and resources to the group, they will be part also of this, because it becomes a program where they can fight against poverty, work toward not hunger, because they will be after the whole process, they will be able to decide the way that they want to build their cooperative, which involves an income for them and things like that. So how do we reflect on those goals as well, and how can we connect them to the daily life? And they will build their projects as a collective, but also their personal and family projects. And they will plan, they express those projects besides like maybe like text and the whole format that it can be also done through their art and making something more creative. And we will be able to like, well, working together collaborative, but also making their art pieces, being able to have an exhibit either at the Boulder Public Library or at the Boulder Museum. The request. Okay. So Eco Arts Connection have said that they will be able to provide for all the supplies, like the materials, the art, science, and tech materials kits, the office supplies kits, and paper, and things like that. And that goes to a total of $1,125. And then what we're asking is like to being able to provide like a gift card for the participants, so they feel motivated, or maybe because it's not like a big gift card that they will have, but at least they will have like if they need, yeah, just like being motivated like, to come. And we were talking about the possibility of having childcare with volunteers that work with the Rotaries, and the trainer's fee will be like for the two trainers, it will be a total of $3,000 and $1,000, and so it will take a total of $5,500. That's it. Thank you. Any question and answer? And here is my information.
How many participants do you have in your project on average? I mean, how many you had in the past? How many people participated? Are they all in the trailer park, San Lucero?
Well, I do have like different projects, like in the past. Usually I work with groups of from 15 to 25 participants. And like right now, like the cultural caravans is like, this is a storytelling project where we bring like the storytelling, we bring some resources from the library, we connect with mobile home parks, and we ask the community to request someone from the community that, like we say, like lo que nos cuentan nuestras abuelas y nuestros abuelos, which means what our grandmas and grandpas told us, and they tell the story. So we try to make it intergenerational, and for those it can be like a 60 people around. But then for the classes, usually it is more like a set of 15 participants average. But we do have like last year, I was able to do like also the art project, the art education project, and I was able to reach around 250 participants. So it was a lot in many different workshops. And so that's kind of, for this project, the Mama Leona, we're talking about 15 participants, which means 15 families, because we know that when we work with with women, because we have always been told that that we kind of are the caregivers, and we always come with our kids and things like that. So you work with the whole family every time that you work with the women. So we always say, like, if it's even if it's 15 women, and it is with the whole family, you always interact with the whole family.
Adriana, you mentioned that there are limited leadership programs in Spanish. When there were several people in this room that went to the membership summit for Rotary, and I went over to Mr. Getzinger, who was one of the organizers of that event, and I said, why don't we do Rotary 101 in Spanish? And we don't offer in Spanish, and we're ignoring a whole bunch of people, professionals. So I did ask him again, and I didn't get a response, but Mike Brady, since you're here, I want to see, because isn't this interesting that this is an issue.
And I would piggyback
This
on
is
you,
something
Ann.
we could do.
In San Francisco, in the district, when I was a member there, the Mission Rotary Club in the Mission community of San Francisco is a Spanish-speaking club. It's like, we have Spanish-speaking clubs intermixed in districts all over the US. I don't know that we have one in our district, which is interesting, isn't it?
But we don't offer.
Because, but we have leadership opportunities, and therefore they facilitate and, multiple languages. They have a Chinatown club, so they do Chinese as well.
We don't
Yeah,
have Rotary.
we don't have it
101,
here.
Which is a great way to understand what Rotary is. A lot of people don't know what Rotary is, and if they could just go and understand it in their own language, and trained by somebody who it looks just like them, I think we could absolutely get involved with the diversity, equity, and inclusivity initiative that we really haven't gotten involved in. But that is one reason why Adriana, I brought her here.
So you can see all of us.
Could you share a couple of your success stories?
Well, I do have like a few in here. I have like 5 years living in Boulder, and I did starting from myself, like founding my business and being able to provide services from my community and make them accessible, because what I do is like making sure that everybody can access to this community, to this workshop, to these activities without any barrier like of language or difficulty of money or things like that, because we know that sometimes like an art class will be like very expensive and not all the people can afford that. And some of the success, I will say, it is like, well, I have been working with the Mama Leonas, and also I have been working with the Safe House Progressive Alliance for Nonviolence, and I feel they always want to do more workshops. And sometimes we don't have the resources to do more, but we have seen that the participants, I always say, like, I actually can share some recordings that from a class that way they were saying like how healing has been being part of these processes, how well they feel like connecting with their own history. Even sometimes when we talk about our indigenous background, it is hard for a lot of people because they have been told that no, you are a mestizo. And because in Mexico, it seems like everybody is a mestizo because it was the perfect way to forget about our indigenous culture. So connecting with that and seeing like how people get connected with their own background and cultural background, it has been like a very, very good thing that I have seen. And also providing this space where it's like a family members. You see sometimes like a 3 or 5 years kid and years old, and maybe a teenager, and the mom and the grandma or the grandpa, and everybody's joining together to the class. So we're trying like when we talk about coding, like a coding class. Sometimes they like the grandma will be like, no, I don't know how to code. I don't know anything about computers. And then we moved the coding approach to, okay, do you know how to knit? Do you know how to cross stitch? That is coding, because you are counting, you are doing your math in your head and you are coding. So that's when the family members connect and they do feel like, oh yes, grandma, you're coding just like I am, right? And that kind of thing. So I think that's like some example.
Adriana? With a program like the one that you're proposing right now, what is the sustainability from that program in years forward? Like how will it, self-fulfill it? And let's say next year, what are the plans there? We'd love to hear more about that.
Yes, like this program, what brings is a bunch of tools that we that it helps any organization, because you actually can apply to any organization. I've used it more as a community organization, but I did it during the summer a similar program with the Boulder Valley School District for the couple, which is the let me see in Spanish is Consejo Asesor de Padres Latinos at Latinx Parents Advisory Council. Yeah. Sorry, I always have to. And it was very good, because the way that it is built is like the participants spread themselves. They organize their own history as a person, but also as a collective. So they build this project and they define times, and we do bring like a follow-up, like, okay, you set this goal for this time, how are we moving for this goal? And we know that life happens, and sometimes you have to reorientate, and it's part of the richness of this program, because it gives you the tools of being aware of, okay, what will happen if you do not have these resources? What else can you do? What else, how can you feel that yeah.
Thank you.
I just have I'm a member of the Hand Weavers Guild, and I don't know if your group is familiar with the Hand Weavers Guild, but it seems like a good partnership, because we try to further all forms of fiber, which is, when you were talking about needle felting, there's a lot of needle felters, weaving, obviously, knitting, crocheting, whatever. So I have cards, I'll give them to you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, and I also wrote cards.
You mentioned the Indigenous Peoples Day. Can you help us understand where and when?
Oh, yes, of course. Well, the Indigenous Peoples Day is, thank you. It is based on the Indigenous Peoples Day proclamation, which is sharing that information. And what I'm doing is bringing a group of artists from the Nahuatl and Totonaco culture, which is from my homeland in Puebla, Mexico, which is kind of in the center, very close to Mexico City. So we're doing danzantes. The danzantes are, and this is very interesting, because this is a group of teenager danzantes, where like many years ago, the danzantes wouldn't allow women to be part of the danzantes, because they thought it was like a very big responsibility for women. And now these women, this group is like a teenagers, male and female, and they doing the danzas. So it would be the danzantes, and they will explain the meaning of the danzantes, because it is connected to a very holistic approach to honoring Mother Earth. And they do have to have this commitment for 7 years. So if you become a danzante, you have to be a danzante for 7 years. And that will mean that you are involved with your community the whole year, not only the day that you dance, but you are doing like a community service and things like that. So we have the danzante, we will have a Totonaco poet. He has a very, well, if you attend, this will be online, and it's of course free. We're providing materials if you live in the city of Boulder. Yeah, by this time I should have been sorry about that. but yeah, we still have time to provide the materials that we will be doing the hands-on activities with the loom and the hot chocolate making. we will have a short storytelling play, kind of, with a theater group from the Nahuatl community of San Miguel Cinecapan, which is in Puebla, Mexico. And we will have a curandera, which is Rufina and Lucia, which is they both, well, Lucy will start with the ceremony, the opening ceremony, when she will ask to the Mother Earth and everybody like to connect for the ceremony to go well. And then we will have a talk with Rufina, which is from an organization that is a very powerful organization in Puebla, Mexico, in the region of Cuetzalan. It is in the North Highlands of Puebla. And it's a Masewa Siwame, Moseyo Chikawane, which means indigenous women working and supporting each other. And they do actually, well, she will talk about natural healing and traditional medicine and herbalism, but also they do have a cooperative there that I have been working with, and they do have a eco-tourist hotel, because it has in case that you, after you meet her on Saturday, you can visit Mexico and stay with them. Yeah. I don't know if that's the information. And it will be like on Zoom, so we will be connected with them from Mexico in Puebla, and yeah. And
So only on Zoom?
well, I will be like in person, like broadcasting from the Boulder Public Library at the Boulder Creek room. So if anyone wants to just jump in on Saturday, the event starts 11:30, so I will be there early, but the library actually opens at 12. But after but at 12 you are able to join, and the hands-on activity is gonna be at 1. And you can find all the information in the website. And there's a link for Cultura /Indigenous Peoples Day, and there's a link where you can register. But even if you do not register, if you just go on Saturday to the library, you can grab one bag of these until supplies last, because we get like a specific budget, but we still have some.
What, the Mama Leones, what kind of jobs do they have, or businesses?
Well, their own jobs are like many other Mexican immigrants, like cleaning houses or working in restaurants and things like that. But they do have like a lot of skill sets that we have.
What are they, their skill sets?
Yeah, that we have shared together, and they do art, they do embroidering, they do sewing, so like maybe doing garments. They know how to cook, and they cook delicious, like maybe catering and things like that. So they do have like a lot of different skills that they want to put together in order to be able to do like a collective business.
Well, we really appreciate you coming. It really was an honor to have you. Token of our appreciation, we're deciding to give you the whole world in your phone. Also serves you a great paperweight, or it's a very threatening acrylic cube, but otherwise. So thank you so much. Very much appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And she has cards, so please come by and grab them if you'd like to get write down information. And we'll be sending her info out in email as usual. Michael, do you have any last words you want to say? No? Good enough? We passed? Wonderful. Well, with that said, I know that we generally go this route, but it's our first time closing with a bell, which is going to be really great. And you know, if it's Wednesday, it's Rotary. So much. For your records, I think that we had about 35 people attending with online. So I don't know if you like to keep track of that. Sometimes people do, because when they're looking for speaking opportunities, they would say, "Oh, well, I've spoken to 3,000 people so far." So 35 people. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't know.